Healthy relationships happen when two people stop asking what they're owed and start asking who they are becoming. How can I be in service of you? Right? Become before you belong. Ooh. I may have outdone myself with that one. I may have outdone myself, real talk. There's no need to search for the perfect partner. No such thing. Become one. Become the man, become the woman, become the husband, become the wife long before the wedding day. Don't become these things because someone else deserves it. Become them because that's what God is calling you to be. It's funny because not in one of my relationships ever in my life, my actual relationship since I've been in second grade, I've been a husband. I don't do dating. We're together. If that's not, and if we're together, we're moving in this direction, right? Because what's the point? I'm just gonna hang out with you because I like you, because I love you, and we're not moving forward towards something. Nah, that ain't happening.
Shit, I'm about to go wait in this place when you dropping the bass in. The beat inside the streets of awaken. I'm making to break my foot off of somebody's ass. I'm waiting for someone to say my name so I can annihilate them. Okay, then everyone was screaming the rape when I was kicking at the gate till it caved in. Belly scraping by, but now I'm paid. Look at the paper I raked and I'm caking like Jay-Z and Drake. And I hate when people say that I ain't killing shit. The game is my playpen. I punch you in the face and end up breaking your break bands. I'm far from Hollywood. I'm posted up at the days in. Even though the industry say I'm the latest sensation. Drop the song at the award show. Becoming complacent. Mama saw me on TV with just a bum in the basement. You a captain, save a whole you just
What up? And the weather today is not. I'm joking. I'm full of jokes today. Now, what's up? You Control You podcast, Shy Evans. I always start each podcast with what I'm grateful for. And what I'm grateful for today is this warm ass weather. But no, grateful for God, grateful for life, family, friends. Man, I'm grateful for another day, to be honest with you, because it seems like more and more people are passing away. And I know that's forever life, right? But I want you guys to know, like, tomorrow isn't promised. And it's this weird process that I know people get stuck in where they remember yesterday, but they're so focused on the future that they stress about not having enough time and they don't live enough in the present moment. Enjoy the present and just know that tomorrow isn't promised. So, like, enjoy your friends, enjoy your family, enjoy your loved ones, and be grateful for everything that you have, the trials, the tribulations, the good, the bad, the lessons that you learn. Just remember, it's all meant for a reason, right? So let's get this thing started. Leads right into this podcast. Why modern relationships are failing. So I have some ideas, of course, on why modern relationships are failing. And, you know, it's not because men and women are too different. They're failing because we've become so focused on what we're owed than who we're becoming, right? You don't control your spouse. You don't control culture. You control you, right? And so I know for me, I had this image of what a masculine man would look like, right? He doesn't need to show emotion. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to talk about his feelings. He doesn't have to do any of this. And there was nobody really in my life that was like, yo, move like this, communicate like this, talk like this. So in my mind, I just didn't talk about it, especially because when I would try to talk about it, it wasn't met with nurturing energy, right? It wasn't met with that feminine energy. So in my mind, I'm just being a punk. And it didn't make sense to me. Like, it didn't make sense to hold it all in, but It is what it is. So as we dive into this, we're going to be talking about the masculine and feminine energy. And I think, and my hope is that you get something out of this more than just like, oh my God, like the women are like this or the men are like this, because masculine and feminine energy don't function like that, right? So let's get it started. Some questions I have for y'all that I made sure to put down. Why are relationships failing at record rates? Why do so many people say they can't find a good man or good woman? What if the problem isn't that good men and good women don't exist? What if we've forgotten what they're supposed to become? Right? Now, I can only talk more on the man part right now about men because I'm a man. So this episode isn't about blaming men, and it's definitely not about blaming women. It's about becoming who I believe God designed us to be before expecting someone else to become what we need. Right? And this is something that I've had to learn over time. One of the biggest problems in relationships is that we've become experts at identifying what someone else should be doing, right? He should be doing this. She should be doing that. But we rarely ask ourselves, who are we becoming? This is something that I'm very blessed and very grateful that I've done throughout my relationships. However, with that said, I wish I would have done it more while I was in the relationship, which is something I'm working on and truly striving to be better at every day. And instead of focusing on what she should be or what he should be, I'm asking myself instead, who am I becoming? The foundation of every relationship starts with personal responsibility. That's what You Control You is all about, right? So instead of explaining what she needs to do, right? So if I have an issue with my wife, instead of saying she needs to operate like this, she should be moving like this. And even when I catch myself saying that, I'm like, yo, but this is on me, because the only person I can control is me. The only person that I can adjust is me, right? I chose to marry this woman. I chose to be with this woman. So truly the only way I can function within this relationship is by focusing on me. Now, I know in my previous marriage, I would always be like, yo, you need to change how you're doing this. You need to change how you're moving. You need to change how you're operating. And I can understand why that would mess somebody up a little bit, because now they're defensive, saying what I need to change, how I need to be. And relationships don't function well like that, because now we're constantly trying to change the other person. That's not our job, right? So as we unpack this, what does masculinity really mean? And I truly believe culture has confused masculinity with dominance, right? I believe masculinity is responsibility, right? It's a major responsibility. And we've talked about that before. A masculine man protects, he provides, he serves, he sacrifices, he remains calm during chaos, he solves problems instead of creating them, he accepts responsibility for his actions. Leadership isn't about having power, leadership is about carrying responsibility, right? So when you think about it, think about a great leader, right? A great leader isn't telling you constantly what you need to do. That's a boss, right? A leader instead is going to guide, teach, help you understand what your responsibilities are, what you should be doing, and they're going to help you in that, right? A leader is going to put the people in the best spot possible, right? So my wife is better with finances. So I've maneuvered her into this position where I'm well aware of what's happening with the finances. I know what's going on. Matter of fact, we just had a financial meeting like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right? To go over everything. However, I put her sort of in charge of that, right? Because she's better at that. That's what a leader does. A leader is putting people in their best position so we all can succeed, so the team can win, right? What femininity really means. I truly believe this has been misunderstood. It isn't weakness. It's a strength expressed differently. A feminine woman brings peace. She nurtures. She encourages. She supports. She creates emotional safety. She builds a home where people flourish. Soft doesn't mean weak. Gentle doesn't mean powerless, right? So when I think about this woman, right, that's truly in her feminine energy. So when I talk about the feminine energy, it's not about weakness. And I said that. Feminine energy carries the biggest power, right? She knows how to talk life into her man. She knows how to show him how to truly love and be open. Because let's be honest, there's nothing about men usually. Now there's a difference, boys, and then there's men, right? I'm talking about men. There's nothing that really get taught to men about how to open up their feelings and love a certain way. Because masculine energy is only built through going through challenges, right? So we learn how to go through a challenge. We learn how to keep going no matter what, whether it's in sports, martial arts, life, whatever it is, we learn how to push through that, right? That's what helps create the masculine energy. That's what helps create that straight line. We learn how to push through those challenges and understand that being emotionally chaotic won't help us push through those situations, right? So let's unpack this a little bit more. Protection is more than physical, okay? I know a lot of guys always talk about, especially in, what do they call that? The manosphere, when the podcast, like when they're always talking about men this, men that, right? So it always comes down to protection is talking about the physical aspect. Like if someone breaks in the door, if somebody robs you, and I agree, right? Like if a woman's with me, whether she's with me or just, whether we're in a relationship together or we're just walking together, I'm walking curbside, right? She's walking where there's going to be less traffic, less possibilities of her getting hurt. I'm going to open the door, right? I'm constantly scanning for danger. That's what I do. That's what a masculine energy can bring to the table. But the protection isn't all about the physical. When women say they want protection, which I agree, protection is opening the door, walking curbside, paying attention, keeping danger away. The one thing that men miss is remaining emotionally steady, right? Providing stability. It's funny. I was talking with one of my students and my daughter yesterday, right? My daughter was at the gym and she's 22. And we were talking about how they got one good week out of the month where they feel normal, right? They feel balanced. They don't feel high strung. They don't feel a wave of emotions or a lack of energy, right? And so it's our job to be that straight line. And I've talked about that many times, being that straight line while they're going through the ups and downs. We provide stability. We solve problems, being willing to sacrifice. A man shouldn't wait until marriage to become that man. He should already be becoming him. And I used him on purpose, right? Him, be him, live as him. We're supposed to be living in God's image, right? God's not going to bring chaos to a woman's life like that. He's going to bring stability. So it's our job to bring that stability. Now, doesn't mean we're perfect. We're going to mess up. We own it and we learn and we come back better. We come back stronger. We come back rebuilt, ready to do, ready to serve, right? One of my students said she wants a house with a big enough backyard to have chickens, and she wants this and she wants that. And instantly the guys were like, yeah, I want to provide that, because that's what we do. If a woman says, this is what I want, we're going to do everything we can. Everything now is to provide that life for her while living in our purpose. Okay? The question nobody wants to ask, man. This is going to upset. This might trigger some people. So trigger warning. If you have an expectation, and if you've been following me, you already know how I feel about expectations. But if we have an expectation that if we expect men to become protectors before marriage, why aren't we holding women to the same accountability to become nurturers before marriage? Huh? Shouldn't a woman be prepping herself for this too? Right? Because healthy relationships happen when both people are becoming who God designed them to be. So if we're wanting men to be a certain way, to carry themselves a certain way, to learn how to be emotionally stable, to be emotionally intelligent enough to be the straight line, to be able to unpack their ego before they get married, regardless of age, then it is not on men to make the woman feminine. Think about that. If it takes for a woman for me to be masculine, for me to walk curbside, for me to open the doors, for me to be a gentleman, if it takes the right kind of woman for me to do that, then I'm already messing life up, because I'm already not living in God's image. Right? Now, that doesn't mean that I won't get better while I'm married. I won't get better while I'm with this person. But let's be real about something, right? And this isn't like I'm dissing women. I want you to be real. If you are saying it takes a man to bring you into your feminine, then you're not living in God's image, right? Because you should be able to literally be feminine already. You should know how to be feminine. And I get it. If you run your own business, if you're striving hard to be a lawyer or a doctor, you got to be in your masculine to conquer those worlds. Yeah, I feel that. But you should also know how to be in your feminine. Just like I would tell the dudes, right? I would tell the dudes to know how to learn how to communicate with a woman and be a stable line, to be nurturing, to be loving in a way that looks masculine, but is also feminine. Right? To be able to be emotionally intelligent, to be a nurturer, that's some feminine energy, right? So you should learn that as a man. What did Ghost say? Ghost said they're running a business as well. Shout out Ghost, they're running a business. I take it, is that a woman then? I'm taking it that's saying that, right? So when you really unpack this and you talk about the masculine and feminine energy, let's not get it twisted. I believe every man should come to the table ready to be masculine, right? He should have already worked on himself. He should have already put himself through challenges that made him dial down his ego. We shouldn't have to argue with a woman to always be right. What's the point of being right? Let's solve the problem. Let's help her by being on the team, right? Let's be on the team. So it's really on both parties to come to the table ready to go. Now, it's funny because the people get it twisted. Well, women should just be in the kitchen cooking. Well, what if the man is better at cooking? You know what I'm saying? Like, then he should cook. Just like I said, in my situation, my wife is better at finances. She's leading the way in finances. I just make sure that I understand what's going on every step of the way. That doesn't mean that I couldn't do it. Don't get it twisted. Right? And so it's staying focused on that. It's splitting the chores so the house runs correctly. Now, if you're a man that works and she's a stay-at-home mom, that doesn't mean you can't help out, right? You could definitely help out. Put the dishes away, do the dishes, cook sometimes, right? What are we saying here?
I think it started with I'm not always like that though.
Oh, it's not always like that though? I mean, yeah, true. But that's on you, right? I couldn't blame a woman for me not being a masculine man. What I look like? I'm in control of myself, right? So as we keep going further, leadership isn't being a boss. And I mentioned that. Why I say men should lead, I don't mean he should be the boss. A boss gives orders. A leader serves, right? A true leader serves. A true leader wants the team to win. A leader listens. A leader welcomes ideas. A leader makes difficult decisions. A leader accepts the responsibility when things go wrong, no matter what, right? That's what a leader does. At my gym, if something fails, that's on me. That's leadership. Marriage should be no different, right? So I want it to be so that my wife can chill and relax. So if she's like, hey, especially about money, because remember, I put her in that position, right? She's running point on that. But if she comes to me, and this was part of the meeting, she was like, hey, what do you think we should put down on this? Right? Because I run a big business now. It's not a small business anymore. My gym is what? Mid-size, upper mid-size business now? Like, it's a big business. So the financial decisions are a little tricky now. But when she asked me what should we do, I got to look at everything, right? Now it's my job. I'm the coach. My job to lead. Got to put my C on my jersey right now. And I'm like, hey, this is the decision we should go with. This is the direction, right? If it isn't the right move, I got to come back and say, yo, that's on me. I made that call, right? And I say it all the time in the gym. I'll teach a technique. Like even this morning, I was teaching people how to do elbows and knees in my Muay Thai class, right? And I was like, yo, my bad. I missed a step. Because it's really easy because I know how to do it. And it's really easy to skip such a minor step when you're talking to people that are just starting out. So I gotta go back and say, yo, that's on me. My bad, I didn't say that. Like, I'm okay with saying that's on me. I made a mistake because that's what comes with the territory of being a leader, right? It is what it is. Now, before I go any further, I want y'all to rock with this next video. It's the umbrella story, right? One of the most powerful things I've ever heard was this woman using the umbrella analogy. And she talks about how an umbrella isn't valuable because it's prettier. It's valuable because it was designed for the storm. A husband should be willing to stand in the rain. And so, but the umbrella also has to be held up, right? That doesn't make the person holding it less valuable. It makes them equally necessary because marriage isn't about being superior. It's about partnership, right? And so rock with this video, y'all. I think y'all really gonna like this video. It's a few minutes long, but rock with it. Like, I think y'all gonna enjoy it.
God made Adam a suitable helpmate. And he made that helpmate not because she's weaker, but because God has given men a capacity and a responsibility that women do not have. And we have to be honest about it. We can say he's not a man, he doesn't know how to lead, he doesn't whatever. There's still a capacity inside of him that God did not give us as women. And one of the biggest examples that I can give of that, imagine it's raining and you're in New York City. And if you've ever been to New York City or in France and it starts raining and people start selling umbrellas on the street, those $5, $10 umbrellas, they're not worth much, but they get the job done until you get home. Imagine you have that man. You have the man that gets the job done, isn't anything special, but he gets the job done. That man, no matter how little you view him, is made to handle the rain. You were not made to handle the rain, but you were made to hold up that which can handle the rain. If you didn't have that umbrella, you would come back home smelling like what you were poured on. What poured on you? When a man comes back in as that umbrella, he gets dried quickly, water repellent, it falls off of him, and no matter how equipped you thought he still was built for the rain. The difference also, some of you want that Neiman Marcus umbrella. Some of you want the wood handle. Those things are heavy. And if God gave you a man like that, then you have to be the woman that can hold up that man. Because an umbrella that is not used, it can be for the rain, for the sun. It shields, it provides shade. It allows what's under it not to be touched. We are the vessel, not weaker. We are the vessel that was meant to let the one that God gave us be held up and used for what he was made. So now as a wife, I want to say, I don't want to get wet. I don't want to sunburn. My skin's not built for that. So instead, I'm going to let the man be who he was meant to be. And if God gave me, which he did, my man's about as heavy as this table. That means God made me capable of holding him up. If my man is not doing what he was made to do, it's because I, as his wife, am not holding him up. One thing I will credit myself to is that that man can come and do what God has him to do, because on the back end, he is being held up and held down. Not about me, but to say this about submission. If you think submission is because the man is doing what you believe is right for a man to do, then you've missed your assignment before God. God will bless your obedience as being a wife. The Bible's full of it. Ephesians and Corinthians in the Old Testament. Just start looking for them. And please read Love and Respect. It will change your life. Submission does not make you a weaker vessel. It just makes you the part of the machine that is needed to function, but entrusting somebody else's responsibility that's what they were made for, to do what God has made them to do. So I value submission. Submit one to another is not in the same way. He is not going to submit to me the way I'm going to submit to him. That's not even biblical. As he submits to Christ, so I submit to him who has submitted to Christ. If God has made the man the head of the house to love his wife as he is to love the church, God is going to hold him to a standard. God is also going to hold you to a standard. And it's not going to be dependent on, did you value him, or did you do right by him because he did right by you, or you did right by him because you did right by what God commanded you to do. You will see a dynamic transformation inside of your home when you begin to obey his word. Submission is our safety as wives. Submission is your safety as a wife. Whether you have, because I want to believe if you married him, he has good intentions. Even if he doesn't have, or if you're with him, or if you love him, it's because you believe that's a good person, even if they don't have it together yet. Keep trusting God, but allow your heart to not be tainted if he's doing right by you. God will make him do right by you. God knows how to reach the man that he gave you so that you don't suffer and cry, so your child doesn't suffer and cry, and so you don't live in a house that is just like what you've always seen. You will be the chain breaker of marriages and relationships and love in this life if you just do it God's way.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, like, I am working on bringing that woman on the show. I really want to talk with her. So biblical leadership and submission, I don't want anyone to misunderstand me here, right? Biblical leadership is not abuse. It isn't control. It isn't manipulation. It isn't demanding obedience from a person. If a man uses scripture to dominate a woman, he has already failed as a leader, right? Biblical leadership is sacrificial. Biblical submission is trusting in God's design. It both require humility, both require love, both require selflessness, right? As I finish unpacking this, right? I'm supposed to live in God's image, right? Christ was willing to sacrifice himself for everyone. I better be willing to sacrifice myself for my family, right? And it's funny because I spend all day in selflessness, but I take moments to be selfish. When I'm lifting those weights, I'm being selfish right now. When I decide I'm gonna put in 20 minutes on a speed bag, I'm being selfish. When I'm putting work on a heavy bag, I'm being selfish. When I shadow box, I'm being selfish, right? But in order to coach, in order to be a husband, in order to be a father, I'm living in that selflessness. And I would do anything to I would sacrifice everything I have in order to make sure that those three areas succeed. And sometimes there's a conflict amongst those three. Not so far, but you know what I'm saying? Tatted, man, none but love, yo. So one of the things that I believe that we should throw out the window is keeping score. Too many relationships become transactional. I'll respect him when. I'll love her when. I'll lead when. I'll submit when. And everybody's waiting for that when, but nobody's growing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the thing that bugs me out. I trust everybody. I respect everybody. You don't have to earn that. That's given. That's given. Now, can you keep it? Right? Are you gonna lie? Are you gonna cheat? Are you gonna steal? That's gonna affect how I look at you. It's gonna affect how I move with you, right? Healthy relationships happen when two people stop asking what they're owed and start asking who they are becoming. How can I be in service of you? Right? Become before you belong. Ooh. I may have outdone myself with that one. I may have outdone myself, real talk. There's no need to search for the perfect partner. No such thing. Become one. Become the man, become the woman, become the husband, become the wife long before the wedding day. Don't become these things because someone else deserves it. Become them because that's what God is calling you to be. It's funny because not in one of my relationships ever in my life, my relationships, right? Not something else. My actual relationship since I've been in second grade, I've been a husband. I don't do dating. We're together. If that's not, and if we're together, we're moving in this direction, right? Because what's the point? I'm just gonna hang out with you because I like you, because I love you, and we're not moving forward towards something. Nah, that ain't happening. Because if we're just dating and you date another man, we're gonna have an issue because I'm not cool with that. So let me out of this mix right now. Right now. I don't want to be in that bowl. Don't mix me in that recipe. The recipe that we're building is us two. Oh, how do you say it? Noisy? Ladnikosi
Possibly.
says Tupac, quote unquote, trust nobody. Do we need to unlearn that? Yes. Yes. Better yet, I'll give you the newest generation that comes closest to Tupac, DMX. If you're gonna talk about a rapper who you could say hit people the way Tupac did, it'd be DMX, right? DMX said before he passed away, he said, trust everybody to be who they are. So if you don't trust anybody, how are you going to know the snakes from the rats, right? Now, when Tupac said this, remember, he was still a young man. I truly believe as Tupac got older, some of the things that he was going to say, some of the things that he said would have evolved and changed, right? So he was living in a life of trust nobody. But if you trust no one, you'll never be able to see anybody clearly. Trust them to be who they are. Trust a thief to be a thief, a liar to be a liar, a cheat to be a cheat, right? Trust everybody to be who they are. And allow them to show you something different. So if you present as this way, I'm going to trust that's who you are. When you show me something different, now I'm going to ask some questions, right? What's up? It doesn't mean I'm a bounce, but now I'm seeing a different characteristic than I've seen before. What brought that about? What triggered that? Why did it come out? Right? Let's unpack it a little bit. Let's talk about it. Right? So back to what I was saying, become the person that should be there already. Become the husband, become the wife. Become them because that's who God is calling you to be. I should be husband material before I even step up to the plate with a woman. Because one, it'll help me set boundaries. Because if I'm stepping up to the table as a husband, I damn sure want a wife. Ball with me, right? When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Facts. Now, the only thing I'll say with that is the why. That's why I always want to know the why, depending on the situation. So if I'm with a woman and she raises her voice, I'm not cool with her raising her voice and taking that tone. However, I want to know why. Right? Why are we elevating to this level? Because we know we don't want me to do that. So why are we doing this? All right. Now, I got an interesting challenge for all of y'all. Right? I don't open the door because my wife earned it that day. I open the door because that's the kind of man I've decided to become. Likewise, I wouldn't want a woman to be loving, gentle, encouraging, and nurturing only because I earned it that day. I'd want that to be who she's decided to become. Character isn't built by someone else's behavior. Character is revealed by yours. We spend too much time trying to change the people we love. You don't control your husband. You don't control your wife. You don't control your culture. You don't control the past. You control you. So my challenge to all of you is let go of the control and the need of controlling everybody else. Control yourself. Love your wife because that's your job, right? As a man, you chose that. Communicate with your wife and your kids because that's what you chose. Be real with them. Be honest with them. Be the calm, right? Encourage them. Compliment your wife just cuz. Just cuz. You want your wife to be feminine? You want your girl to be feminine? Compliment her. Tell her how pretty she is. Tell her how her hair looks. Thank her for what she does. And women, appreciate your man the same way. Pour love into him. Hype him up. Right? Shit, Chris Rock said it. Sometimes you got to be the lead singer. Sometimes you got to play the tambourine. But you better play the hell out that tambourine. And that goes for both people. Don't do things because you expect something back. Do things because that's part of the job. Pour into that other person. Love that other person. Love yourself. Man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me today, yo. Seemed like this episode was cracking. Like, I looked up, we were cracking for a minute. So I appreciate y'all so much, man. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Man, I got so many interviews coming up. I once said being married is a decision that you do every day. Like, I didn't just get married one day and then that's it. Now, this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. When the kids are gone, it's going to be me and her. She better be my best friend. I better enjoy playing games with her. I better enjoy talking to her. I better enjoy hanging out with her. I better enjoy doing all the things that I like doing behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? Like, otherwise, what's the point? But like I said, it's not up to her to bring the masculine out of me, and it's not up to me to bring the feminine out of her. All I can do is encourage it, praise it, feed it, and vice versa. Like I said, man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Like, follow, subscribe. We're on all platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Hit us up, yo. We got lots of interviews coming, man. Like, it's crazy. A lot of different topics, financial, investments, realty, fighting. Like, across the board, we got some coming. So appreciate y'all for rocking. Y'all were fun. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate all the shares. Man, remember, you control you, though. You are in control of you all day. And on that note, we out, baby. Peace.
Shit, I'm about to go wait in this place when you dropping the bass in. The beat is at the streets of awaken. I'm making to break my foot off of somebody's ass. I'm waiting for someone to say my name so I can annihilate them. Okay, yeah. Everyone was screaming the rape when I was kicking at the gate till it caved in. Belly scraping by, but now I'm paid. Look at the paper I raked in. I'm caking like Jay-Z and Drake. And I hate when people say that I ain't killing shit. The game is my playpen. I punch you in the face and end up breaking your break bands. I'm far from Hollywood. I'm posted up at the days in. Even though the industry say I'm the latest sensation. Drop the song at the board show. Becoming complacent. Mama saw me on TV with just a bum in the basement. You would catch me save a whole you just the cake.